Good morning, everybody. On this lovely Friday morning, time to bring you an interview of the most hated black woman in liberal black America. The one who keeps telling the truth, the one, the only, Shahrazad Ali, as she exposes feminism and the plot to destroy the black family. So, let's get into it.
Around the country, then I was new to it things. And that was that a lot of the men understood what I was saying. They accepted that truth. And they were talking about they wasn't gonna eat it and change their diet and stuff. But it was the sisters who were saying, I'm not changing what I cook. You're gonna eat what I cook anyway. And hey, my grandmama didn't eat it for 100 years, all this kind of nonsense. And so as I listened to that, I began to think, well now if we are withholding the proper food from our black men, and food is what sustains life, then what else are we withholding that affects his ability to survive from us? And that's how I started doing the research on the Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. And as they say, the rest is history. Then I wrote the Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. And I wrote Are You Still a Slave, which is a test book where you take two tests and you determine how much of a slave are you still acting like even without a slave master. Because most of us think we have overcome that, but our behavior says something else. And then I wrote Things Your Parents Should Know. I wrote Urban Survival, which is a book on how to live in your home or how to make it on the streets or without electricity or how to deal with your food and your waste and things like that. And then I did Things Your Parents Should Have Told You, which is an excellent book if you have a child or for yourself that tells you things that many adults have withheld from their children. And so many of our children have got killed in the streets by white police and other white people who hate them because we didn't tell our children the truth. And so they just defenseless out there because they don't know who the enemy is because we didn't tell them because we didn't want to keep them from getting a job. And we thought that, having certain ideas would prevent them from that. And we thought it was too heavy for them and too, much information. But that has cost us. And so this book tells them a lot of basic information they need to know about surviving in America.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I'm just going to just take you back just a little bit before we go there. So when you were younger, were you always like a writer, or did you just think, oh, okay, I love writing, I'm just going to do this, or did you just write out of necessity?
No, I knew that I was going to do something with books. Now, the way I knew that is that even when I was a little girl, I was just mesmerized by books. I would go in the library and just walk down the aisles, rubbing my hands, touching all the books. I would open them and see how they were made. I would take them apart. So I knew, I felt I was going to, but I didn't know what I was going to do with a book. But I knew I liked the books. I liked how they were, and I saw the books differently. My books are not just run-of-the-mill page after page of writing, because I saw the book and I see a book as a canvas, and you can put anything on that canvas you want to, pictures, names, anything. And so I did mine differently because I wanted to be able to really express myself on the paper of the book. But no, I knew I was going to do something with books, but I was very poor, and that was very far away. And so I think I used to go into the books in order to survive, to get ideas, to read about other places and do things. I always knew I was going to do something with the book, but I didn't know. And then after my first husband died, I was sitting at the desk one day, and I was sitting at the desk, and I was broke, and we had spent the money, and I was trying to figure out what would I do. I didn't have anything, but my teacher always said you have to make something out of nothing. And I looked at my desk, and I didn't have anything but a ream of paper and an old Olivet typewriter.
Oh,
and that's what I did. Yeah, I didn't even do it on a computer. We didn't have no computer then.
Wow. No, I'm laughing because I actually know what that is.
Yes.
Oh, right. Wow. Okay.
So, that was kind of it. And then I started, of course, traveling. My children had got big enough for me to be able to do that. I could leave them with some other sisters. And I would travel and go out and try to teach. And that's what I thought I should do. Now, let me say this. God didn't come on me. I didn't get no revelation from God. Okay, I called it. And I decided this is what I wanted to do. God don't need no help. See? But I decided I wanted to do this out of my affection for our people and the poor condition that we are in and that we continue to be in today. It's just a more modern time and things have changed. But change doesn't always mean better. Change just means different. And so things are different. Yeah, but we are still subjected to the same type of evil by these other people that we were, 30 years ago when I first came out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in terms of the you touched a little bit about it, but what inspired you to write the Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman and the Black?
I just explained that. I went out and I saw a lot of people were talking.
I know, but you gotta, okay, no, you gotta give us some more, okay? I know you. Listen, wait. Let me just take a little pause here. Let me tell you guys. I called this sister and I said, okay, hey, what do you guys want to talk about? I was asking her like, what do you want to talk about and everything. And so, because I was like, we hear, there's lots of videos of you out there. So she started to tell me what she wanted to talk about. And then I was telling her, well, we're going to talk about blah, blah, blah. She said, why are you asking me? So yes, I tell you, this is like transparency all the way. So I'm so sorry. But I want you to go in more deeper. Maybe that's my question. Like, what, like,
no, it's not really about me. See, okay. I don't want to get lost in that. It's not really about me. It's about us and our pitiful condition and the things we are trying to do and the things we are refusing to do in order to make our lives better. And I did a great deal of research. Everybody can do the research in their own house, in their own family. Because all of us suffer from the same things while we think we're different. We're not different. I've had people say, you must live in the house with me. I know you must know my people, but I don't. But I know our condition from looking at many of us, talking to many of us, our men and our women and our children, our gays, our lesbians. I talked to a bunch of us from coast to coast to find out some of what's on their minds so that I could try to study what do we need to do to correct it, because the corrections have been given, but we have tended to reject any truth because it's not our idea of how things should be, even though our idea ain't work.
Yes. Okay. So now, how important is family? I know it's important to you, and I know you already said it, but how important is family to the overall reproduction of the race?
Well, it's very important right now because our birth numbers are down, and I don't know if Black people realize that. They have offered us the abortion as a form of birth control, so a lot of our younger women.
Oh, boom. That's the reason why the African American population, the Black population in America, is only 13%. Not because of Black on Black crime, not because of cops, abortion. Courtesy of Margaret Sanger, the creator of Planned Parenthood, and who idolized Adolf Hitler. Even she said it. I respect this woman so much.
They just get 3 or 4 abortions a year and use it for birth control because they're offered us free. They're in our communities and a lot of things. And sometimes we don't even tell the men that they are pregnant. Or sometimes we'll go around to 3 or 4 men and tell them we're pregnant, need an abortion, and collect $500 or $600 from each one of them. So we've done a lot of things about that. The structure of family has been so destroyed for us. It is really very sad. See, for many years, in fact, even right after slavery, during slavery, after slavery especially, we had more Black families, more Black men marrying Black women with men than we have now, because we have changed our opinion of each other, and so many things have happened to tear down our moral compass. And so one of the other things that has happened is that the enemy couldn't come up with anything that would break up our families in a certain way. Okay? But when they came up with crack separated the mother from the cub. We had never had anything that separated the mother from her baby. Crack did that. And so when that broke up, then, now we're dealing with the grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren of the crack addicts, and they're traumatized. There are studies that say that when people are traumatized,
I don't believe in post-traumatic slave disorder, but due to the fact that we do have these Freemasons, Prince Hall Freemasons, and the Boule, and the Skull and Bones Freemasons, and how the Boule does the bidding of the Skull and Bones. Basically, it's the house Negro, field Negro mentality, and the Boule is the house Negroes, and they basically help the white racists, the white supremacy, get their way with the blacks in this country. Not saying we're helpless and powerless. I'm just saying that's how it is. They control most of the stuff, and you'll always know with white supremacy, you always have black enablers. They're doing the bidding of white supremacy. Just to say that.
I mean that we're free because the people have figured out how to make some money. Yeah. And so our families have been so torn apart, and we have been made to hate each other. And the other reasons is that every problem that the white woman has had with the white man, they have pushed those issues on us, or we have adopted those issues and decided that that was our problem too. When I keep saying that we don't have nothing to do with the white woman and what she got going on with her man. We trying to deal with our own. And as a result of our frustration and our anger.
And just to say, the white feminists get to go home to their kids and their husband. The black feminists just go home to a bunch of kids, or a bunch of kids, and that's it, in a cold bed at night. Think about that. That is true. That is true.
Many of our men have left us to go to women of other nationalities because they feel like they can get along with them better. It's not because they're better women, but they haven't suffered the same kind of traumas that we have from childhood growing up, what we saw, what we did, and all the things we had to go through. And so their mood is better. They ain't mad all the time like us. We be uptight. We have unrealistic expectations, and the unrealistic expectations has been our downfall. We have made up ideas about what a relationship and a husband or a man is supposed to be like. We don't mind having a man as long as he don't act like a man. We can be with him, but start coming up in that kind of give some instructions or say how he wants things.
And this is why a lot of black women don't like her, because she's telling the truth about themselves. And this is the truth. Liberal black women, though, liberal black women, not all black women, liberal black women do not like it when a man acts like a man. Okay? They could have you around, but when you start acting like a man, not taking any BS, they get offended. Okay? Look at Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade. She likes Dwayne Wade because he doesn't act like a man. He lets her get away with any type of stuff, even the stuff they do to their kid. Let's keep going.
What we supposed to do? Oh, we go get everybody then. Oh no, you trying to tell me what to do? Somebody need to tell us what to do. It's obvious we don't know what to do.
Yeah. That's okay. That's a perfect segue to my next question. Can you break down what everybody's role is? The man, the woman, and the child. Like what is?
Well, I can't completely do that, but I can mention some of what the tactics that have been used to maintain a civilized society where the people have somewhat of freedom, justice, and equality even inside the family. We keep talking. Everywhere I go, people say that final thing. We just need to come together. We just need to get in unity. Well, most of us can't get in unity with the people we live with the people we've been with all our life. We can't get in unity with them. So that can't be the total goal. We're going to have forced unity. See, not getting along is a luxury. Being able to disagree, break up, make up, and all of that, that's a luxury. But there will come a time based on things that we all need to survive, and where we're going to need a man, where we're going to get past a whole lot of what we got going now. It's just going to fade away. Like Trump said, it's going to poof. It'll disappear, It's not going to be there. But for right now, the man's role would be to protect and provide. Now, when we say provide, that don't mean buy you every kind of weave you want that costs $800 or $900. It don't mean buy you every kind of Gucci and Fendi and Louis Vuitton. That ain't what provide means. He's going to provide direction and guidance, love, affection, discipline for our children, and help with all of those kind of things. Provide ideas. See, one of our problems as black women is that we ain't got nothing to do. Other than work for white people, we don't have too much to do. Go to the church. And many of us treat the people at the church and the minister like we should be treating our man at home. So, we have it all mixed up. So those are some of the things that the man needs to do. He needs to not let us get away with things. Because the moment we get away with sneaking or lying, we really open it up and do that a lot more because we think we've got him tricked. And that's one of the reasons that so many black women were angry with me for putting out the Black Man's Guide to Understand the Black Woman. Because our man needed a heads up. And even with that, it's hard for them. But they just have certain information they don't have about us that keeps them confused and makes them reject us and go to someplace else. He's outside looking for peace of mind. Yeah, because we're not that familiar with peace. We're just familiar with getting dressed up and putting on eyelashes and, maybe even going to school. More of us are graduating from college. More of us are getting PhDs. We got good credit cards. We got a whole lot of things. But it hasn't made us happy. We're still sitting around talking about why we don't have companionship, which is the ultimate goal. It don't have to be marriage. It can just be some good companionship, because we're alone. So with our women, one of the first things we need to deal with is nutrition. Women historically have been assigned that duty and have accepted that role because food, as I said, is what sustains life. And eating the proper food, we can decide how long our men and our women live, and our children. That's what we feed them. And so eating out every day, while it's convenient, because we're giving our all of our energy to the white people on the job. So when we come home, we tired. So it's easy to pick up McDonald's or some other kind of junk and bring it home and feed it to our children until our children get so accustomed to eating it that they don't even want the food. They don't want vegetables. I've had so many people over the years ask me, how do you get your children to eat vegetables? And I tell them, because they don't work, they don't buy no food, they don't fix no food, they don't do any of that. I'm the one, man. They can't put food on the table. And you teach them to eat that, but you have to keep them away from the sugar and so many things. It's a job. The farther away a woman works from home. The farther away a woman works from home, the more the family suffers. That's the truth of how that goes. And so we, as women, our role needs to be satisfied with less. Stop trying to keep up with everybody else who don't own nothing, but try to buy everything that the enemy and the Asians make. We need to pull back some from that. We think that our men only like us for how we dress, or our eyelashes, or our fake breasts, or buttocks, and all of that. That's not what they're looking for in us. And so we keep them so sexually stimulated, overstimulated, that they don't have time to consider anything else about us, because we think that's the only way to get a man, and that's the only value that we have. We have other great values. We are the queen of the universe, the mother of civilization. And so we have other things to teach. This COVID virus has done something that I've been talking about for years. We're going to be forced to educate our own children. Because it's crazy anyway. No, I've never heard of any people that turn their children over to the enemy to educate them. These people lie. They have lied on our history and accomplishments. They have lied over every contribution we have made, not just here, but worldwide. They have claimed everything we have ever created. And so why would we give our children to them? So somebody asked me, and they were telling me, I'm not taking that virus, that shot. I'm not taking the vaccine. I say, why not? You give your children to them. Okay, you eat their food. We do everything else that destroys us. But now all of a sudden we ain't taking the vaccine. Now, I'm not taking it either. But then I haven't been on that other path. And so it's a very hard time for us. But our women need to lower their dress, stop going out naked, trying to get attention from strange men. Our women need to control their sexual drive, because we'll do anything, go crazy when we have that on us, And what a lonely woman won't do. It's just anything. So we need to pull that back up and come down from so much throwing sex.
Look how many women have died dating men that were not good today. Look how many black women have died. A black woman lost her whole family, herself and most of her family, because she picked a dude from prison to date. But when I was talking about that on in a Facebook group, they also, you're victim blaming. No. Was she really a victim? You knew this guy came from prison, had no job, couldn't get a job. All right. Family even said he was lazy. and you led him to a point where he got you pregnant, and then he demanded your stimulus check. You wouldn't give it to him, and he kills you. Come on now. Breonna Taylor fall in love with a drug dealer, messing with two of them actually. Jamarcus Glover cost her life. Okay, I'm sorry. I say both of them because Kenneth Walker was the one who shot at the cop. Cops start shooting back. Kenneth Walker gets out the way, and then Breonna Taylor gets shot with the bullets. All this was her fault because she wanted to date these type of deadbeat black men. Talk about this, black women hate you, and the simps and the blue pill white knight cucks will come in and defend a woman who brought it on herself but poor mating choices.
On our men so that they can have time to consider something else. They don't have a kind of discipline that'll keep them from going for that. So we need to be in the mother, the first one that touch all of the people on the earth. That's what a mother does. We need to set a different example. We need to start dressing our children more modest. You can't wait till your daughter gets 14 to tell her to stop wearing halter tops and booty shorts. You can't do that. You got to start her when she's a tiny little child about being modest, and how to dress. And so people say all the time to me, yeah, you talking all that old school. Now I'm talking about what works. Because what y'all got going is not working.
Facts. You know what? I'm looking at I'm trying to I can't even keep up with all the comments that people are saying. They're like amen to you as you're talking. I don't know if you're able to see that, Miss Ali.
No, I can't see it.
Oh. Okay, but you can watch it when you do the rerun. You'll be able to watch it.
Okay.
Okay. So all right. So okay, I'm gonna come back to that. So you talked a little bit about the diet. Added some more onto the diet in terms of, we have to do in order to just take care of our families. Is there anything else for? Is there any other reasons why, or how the diet is important, just for our families to be okay?
Yeah, we can look around and see how it's important. Our women are overweight. We big and fat, and trying to convince somebody that looks good. Our men are. You're talking about high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease. And so the stress of racism in this country already puts that on us. We're 17, 18 generations up from slavery. And as I said, that's why I wrote that book, Are You Still a Slave? To help us to understand that we're still practicing the same behavior. And we're not always forced to, but as long as we practice the same behaviors that we do and go for the things, and the enemy understands that they still have control over us. The names. Now that's something important. Most of us still carry the slave master's name. Our mothers didn't know any better. Our fathers didn't. Our grandparents didn't. And as I said, because the slave master took our names and culture from us during the enslavement process, we don't have to hold on to that. It's not an insult to my mother that I wanted my own name. She didn't know any better. She did what she knew. Well, now I'm doing what I know because I know more. I know better. I have a greater understanding of our condition and what needs to be done to correct some of it. But we need to stop using the slave master's name. We need to stop making up names. We got our own names all over the earth that we can use. You don't have to name your child Wanda Center. We got all of this kind of stuff going on out there. You don't have to name her Bridget. And we don't have to name our sons. I don't want to see another John or William. Okay? We don't need those. We don't need well, the names. Just all of this silly stuff we're doing. We need to look into the history since we're so eager to search what happened in Egypt or Kemet 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, which don't have no bearing on what we do today unless we can take those principles and turn them into success for us now. It don't matter what we know about what that was. They use certain set of principles.
Also, the thing is with the Egyptian royal culture, they had incestual marriage and stuff like that. So I wouldn't recommend black people even going to even practice Egyptology because it's full of incest, and it's wrong. And if you look at to these archaeology and these mummified Egyptians, some of them, their corpse, you look at their corpses, they suffered from deformities, okay, inbreeding. So black people always want to be like the Egyptians and the pharaohs, having like incestual marriage, brother sister marriage. No, that's not the way to go for Black America, for Black people, period. For any culture, for that matter.
And maybe we can make some progress like they did. But learning all of that, it's of no value. It has not worked that if we do who we were, we would do better. And that's not true. There's a lot of people who know the entire African history. They can run it to you, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, here at Hopi, we are, that's a Hopi principle. Hopi is the ancient Egyptian name for the Nile River, and we are definitely creating the Nile River with everything that we're doing. So we are using history. We're using that principle of cooperative economics. Exactly. It's just like exactly what you're doing in terms of, like we bringing you here so you can share your knowledge with everybody. It's, but I like your, like, let's get up and do something. So when you talk about the influence of like white folks and racism on us, do you think that it's affected each of us differently, like men and women, or do you think the effect has been the same? Like,
see, when you look at us here, some of us wear our hair different ways, some of us wear jewelry different ways, some of us dress different ways. That's because we come from a lot of different tribes. We didn't come from just West Africa, okay? We come from a lot of places, and we bring those tribal ideas along with us, deep within us, okay? And so some of us want to wear our hair in a lot of what we would think would be odd or wild hairstyles, but that's really just in us. That looks good to us. We think that that's the way to do it. But it has affected many of us in the same way, and it has affected many of us differently, as I said, because we come from different tribes. But we're not a different people. We all have the same certain attitudes. We have let people tell us when we can wear certain colors. You can't wear white after Labor Day. Why? Who said that? Who made that up? We don't know. But we go along with a lot of these rules. And other people made us, And we have lived in a society where our man has been disenfranchised. We have run them crazy at home, and they've been around so many women. They grow up to talk like women and act like women. When we dragging our son to the beauty parlor to get our hair braided, he got to sit in there and listen to women for 3 or 4 hours. Okay? When we take him over to our girlfriend's house, and he got to listen to that. Well, see, a lot of that impacts upon his development. And there are some fathers who are unfit to be around their children, or the woman, or anybody else. But then there are a lot of other great fathers who are qualified to help nurture their child and co-parent, but we don't deal with them because we're mad at them. The child ain't mad.
So let's go there. So why do you think women, because I hear that you're saying a lot, that women are doing, okay, and so I'm just trying to figure out, how did we get there? Like, how did we get there? Like, we know how, because you're explaining how the man got there. I got that. Okay, it's from something that,
I already talked about, because this is how we were treated. We were treated as if we were just a piece of meat, just like they were. I'm the first person to put out there that the enemy didn't just rape the black woman, he raped the black man too. We wasn't talking about that. But I tried to bring information that maybe will help us see that we have a predisposition for certain kinds of other behaviors.
Absolutely.
So, our men have failed, and they have failed because they have not had the right leadership, but they have mostly failed because they have been denied the opportunity to provide for their family, like the white man through force was able to provide for his. See? And so, in addition to that, after he being disenfranchised, then they taught us to demand certain things from him that the enemy has intentionally kept him from getting. So it's just 6 of one, half a dozen of the look bad because we will think we're better than him.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like fake progress. So now, do you think that Black women see gender before they see race, and if so, why?
What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
So, like, do you think that like Black women, do we identify with being women first, or do you think we identify with being black first?
Well, we used to identify with being black first and having a black man, but because of the women's liberation movement, now we try to identify as being female, and we got all of this here, black girls do this and black women do that, and we have not come up with a program as black women that honors our men as much as we honor ourselves. Okay? It would not be us if it were not for him. Okay?
But how do we get us together if we don't honor us first, so that we can have something to then offer to somebody else?
Well, everything is just a decision. And when a lot of us hear the truth, we don't want to take that truth because it requires us to change and rearrange the fake values that we have been forced to accept. That we think to live out here, and many of us think that if we do that, that we will become ostracized. In order to rebuild our nation, you have got to be brave. You have got to step out on the truth, and we don't keep needing a God that we can love. We need a God that loves us. That's different. Okay? And once we accept that, then maybe we'll be able more to do what God has said he wants us to do. Now, God don't need no help. It don't matter if we do right at all, because it's going to fall back on self. That's who we have been unjust to, ourselves. And so we can set a better example. And just cooking. I talk about cooking all the time. I don't know how so many of us have missed that. Cooking food and invite somebody over for dinner. You have somebody at least or some company sometimes, because most of our men are lined up every evening somewhere to buy some kind of filthy, greasy food because they don't have nothing to eat. I talked to a young brother the other day. He didn't even know no women that cook. Especially his mother. me in that. Now, I know that our brothers are broken. Many of them have had such a hard time. You know, we don't even know what it's like to be the blackest man in America. They're hunted down like wild animals. And they're killed unjustly. It doesn't matter. You know, rather, it used to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, any place is the wrong time for our men. And because of the women's lib movement and the big mouth many of us have developed out here trying to talk and yell and jump up in men's faces, now the enemy treats our women like they treat our men. They throw them down, shoot them, anything. You know, so we need to see these patterns and recognize that all that jumping up and down in church every Sunday morning ain't getting us nowhere. We ain't getting no benefit from that. It's just a play to go and let off steam, let off stress. But it's not building what we need to build. Every black church in America should be donating money to educate 5 or 10 children in their communities. They have the money. Stop giving to the pastor, to the preacher. He's a master pimp. Women look for a pimp. They want a man to tell them what to do. They just don't want no accountability with it. And so he's out there collecting the money.
Problem is, most of those black churches are under Freemasonry. That's the problem. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And what the true churches preach, most of the black community will not want. Just saying.
Living a high life when the people in the community are in need. We should be providing scholarships to help some of these children get into different kind of courses. Not all just that kind of on paper education. You know, we need to have them to get into classes for car repair, refrigeration, automotive, air conditioning, plumbing, carpentry. It's a lot of things that a computer can't do.
Yeah. You know what? I keep telling my kids, I'm like, listen, you need to get this little vocational training because the amount of money you pay when something like electricity goes down, the plumbing, I'm definitely. So now, you touched a little bit about black feminism. Is that a myth or reality?
Well, it's been a reality in our life, you know. It has benefited white women. You know, we've never had a sisterhood with white women. Black women and white women never got together because she still resists the fact that back in the day, their men wanted us over them. They were just used for breeding. If they could have a baby, then that could keep them going. Because white can only mix with white and make another white. Okay? And let me see, what's this, 20? Probably about 2050, the white people are going to be the minority in America. They're going to find out what minority means. Now, that's going to cause a real overhaul in the government. Because if they are the minority, then they don't have a right to control the Senate and the Congress and every other office, political office, unless it's just based on the fact that they're white. And so we're going to all have to come to face with that. I probably won't be able to see it, but some things are going to change. And also, as I mentioned about that birthing, we are behind in birthing. Okay? Yeah. So we shouldn't get on these young people who are having these children, what we think is before they married or before they developed or whatever it is, you know. If a woman is 18 or up, she can have a baby if that's what she chooses to do. Now, life may be a little harder, but life gonna be harder anyway. It might be hard being at home and having to get.
Okay, I disagree with this. I disagree with it. It's better for that young woman to find a man that makes more money than her, and you know, they love each other and they're willing to be together through thick and thin, get married and have babies. I don't agree with just a woman just having babies just to repopulate the, you know, the black ethnic group. Sorry, because having a baby is a lot of work. It's a lot of self-sacrifice and a lot of denial. A lot of times when women become single mothers, you know, that kid is open to all types of abuse and degeneracy. And usually up not going to Penn State, but they're going to the state pen. I disagree with that a lot.
But it's equally hard to sit up in a white boardroom and have no white man touch all over you and hold you down because you're black. All of it's hard for us. Ain't no some place in America for black men and black women.
Yeah.
Amen. And so as a result of that, we need to be having these babies. Everybody's out birthing us. The Latinos, they've already outbirthed us. There's more of them than us. We're fly population. The category is black and non-black. White, non-white. That's the only category.
Yeah. Okay, you touching on all my next questions. But wait, it's like you're gonna be a little bit of something. Okay, now, so let's talk about the TVs and movies. How do you think that the music that we're listening today, the TV shows and all that stuff, how is it shaping Black relationships?
Well, you know it is because first of all, just looking at TV has made us think that that's how relationships go. Looking at all of those little shows, growing up with them, you know, we think that that's how our relationships supposed to work, some kind of a fairy tale. But we are not counting the fact of our repression and hatred and everything we have suffered in this country. Lack of identity, lack of our God, you know, lack of our morals, and the destruction and perversion of everything we ever believed in and stood for. You know, we weren't slaves when they captured us. They enslaved us. They turned us into slaves. And so we were not a bad people. We still a good people, which is why we share everything we got and forgive and love the enemy. We still a good people. We need to stop teaching our children to love their enemies. Okay? So as a result of that, then you have
I know a lot of black people that hate white people and they hate every other ethnic group. I know not a lot of black people who hate other ethnic groups. Okay, and it's just as bad as white supremacists. Not all blacks are forgiving and loving.
all of the black people trying to emulate the pictures we've seen of them and trying to do, we think if that's how you do it, they've been our role models. They are standard for beauty, everything. These people have been. And so we think if we can be like that, that will make us successful. It will not. We have that PTSD, post-traumatic stress. We have it. All of us have it. Not one or two of us, some of us act it out.
I don't agree with this at all. Don't agree. I've never been put on a slave ship. Never endured slavery. That's saying.
Because of their environment and their situation. But all of us are suffering from that. It makes it hard. And so I have suggested that when people get together, it don't have to be for no long-term relationship, but then they need to talk about what slavery has done to us. It ain't nothing back in the day, it's right now.
Yeah.
They're not killing us back in the day, it's right now.
Yeah.
So we can discuss those things and talk about all of the obstacles that are going to come up to keep us apart. That's why I got put down. So the enemy not going to let nobody put the black man and black woman back together. Okay? I hate that I say okay.
I like that you say okay. I'm like, yeah.
It's not good. I got to stop saying that. But at any rate, they're not going to allow that. And so consequently, I was on TV every day, all day in every state around the world until a lot of black people started having meetings about how to get along, how to improve their families. And once they saw what I was talking was working, that's back in 1991, 92, they took me off because they're not going to let nobody teach that and free your mind. Your mind got to be free before anything else. And that don't mean go out and hate nobody. That means love yourself more than anybody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself. That's not being selfish. It's just being wanting to preserve the goodness in us, the blackness in us. And as I said, a lot of our men are crippled, but we raised them up like that. They didn't grow up and get crippled. They was crippled as a little boy when we were ruining them. Okay?
Yeah, we were
we have got
too.
to do that different.
We're crippled too. Yeah, we were crippled too. You know?
I already mentioned that, sister. You and me getting ready to have a real conversation because I'm here.
No, I don't want a real conversation.
It won't be long now.
No, I don't want a real
It won't be
conversation.
long.
But listen, okay, so now wait, I just got to take a
That's
break.
true.
Okay, wait. I just got to take a little break, a little commercial break, to tell everybody, listen, guys, I appreciate you guys in the Cash App, and because things are going so quickly here, I wasn't able to shout out everybody who gave a Cash App. I mean, a super chat, but I thank you guys very, very much for for this. And I don't know if you if I don't think I even told you, Miss Ali. We're gonna, for one lucky person, we are going to just buy one have to email 5 things about Shahrazad Ali in the email. 5 things that are true.
See, now y'all gonna get ridiculous. Yeah.
But people could, check out the rest of the video. I mean, I like most of what she said. Things what she said about men and women. There's some things I disagreed with. Just having the kids out of wedlock. Just to repopulate the black ethnic group. I don't agree with that. But she hits on some key points, and you see the reason why she was so hated, because she kept it real on both genders. And that's what I like. That's what I liked about Shahrazad Ali. And she talked about, feminism and how it broke up the black family and how it really hurt black women than helping black women. Okay. That's basically what it did. It hurt them. Okay. They tried to be men when they're not meant for that position. They're meant to be females. And in that, I think they lost their femininity. Liberal black women, that is. Liberal black women. So, tell me what you think in the comments. What do you think about it? Do you think Shahrazad Ali is right? Sorry, it's facts. It's facts. It is facts. You even hear it from women's mouth. They'll want a man around, but he can't. What they say is basically translating, he cannot be that man that is that traditional man, because they see it as oppressive. Maybe because of childhood trauma and stuff like that. Now the format is right, but it's just the person who was the headship was wrong with how he went about it. Just like with women, you may have black men that hate their mothers, but the format of being a mother is right, but the way the mother went about it was wrong. All right. That's just it. So that's what I got to say about this. All right. Maybe I'll make a part 2 to this. All right. Till then, you all enjoy your day. Later.